time to work on this van. It's hailing every single time. The last 4 days have been incredibly busy, but the van is now drivable, the new one, Green Van 2.0, which I guess after this video I should probably call it version 2.2, maybe. But this is gonna be a two-part thing. I filmed a lot of stuff over the last 4 days. I'm feeling a lot better after the crash. It was 3 weeks ago yesterday. This video is about 43 minutes long. I kind of go through, again, some of my thought process and how I work on things, getting the power doors wired up and the lift working and all that good stuff. We also get hand controls in there and a few other things. Part 2 will be tomorrow. Don't think there's gonna be a part 3, but there might be, because I don't want tomorrow's video to also be 43 minutes long. I hope you enjoy. This is one of those rooms that has no lights attached to the ceiling. And when you flip the switch on the wall over there, it just turns off this computer. Great job, 1962. I was just realizing last night that I've had a new van for almost a week now, and I haven't driven it or really done anything with it, which is kind of insane for me. And then I also started thinking, I don't think I've bought a new vehicle since I started this YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't think there has been any. Which is really strange because, well, I've owned over 263 different vehicles since I was 19. So me not buying cars is kind of a crazy concept. Regardless, I'm feeling good enough today that I think it's time to look at that van. Got the driver's seat taken out of it, and I want to take a look at the setup on the steering column and see what it's going to take to install hand controls in there. My thought was to take the ones out of the white van and stick them directly in there, but there's a couple issues with how they're installed in that van that I would like to prevent on the new one. But I need to look at the dashboard and kind of eyeball some things. And then also I want to see if I can get those power doors working. The van came with a box of hardware and electronics and stuff, and I'm not sure how much cutting and slicing and dicing was done on the old wiring for the old lift system. I'm hoping I can just use, yeah, I can use one of my wireless remote modules, I think. And I think I can use that to get the power doors set up on their own little separate thing. And of course, there's the other things like looking around under the hood to make sure everything is tied down, the battery's tied down, you don't have hoses and stuff rubbing on things. Just sort of an overall inspection. I always do that anytime I get a new vehicle. And, well, I tried to do it yesterday. Wait, is this? Oh, I lost a day. This is the third now. But yeah, it's usually good to just open everything up, take a look around, and there's a couple things I've seen from the outside that need addressing, but enough yapping. I'm going to eat my breakfast, and then we're gonna go outside and take a look at this new thing. And someone had commented, by the way, they're like, why do you use paper plates and plasticware in your house? It's because I'm exquisitely lazy. Well, also this stuff is really lightweight, and washing dishes, even like loading the dishwasher, I mean, I'm sure some of you are well aware, the more stuff you do, the more, you only got limited, well, there's the whole spoon theory, obviously. You only got so many spoons, and, well, you need to leave energy in the day for other things. So for me, washing dishes, loading, unloading the dishwasher, all that stuff, well, super amazing for the environment. It's just a lot easier for me to put everything in this other dishwasher over here. Yeah. Plus, I don't know, I always feel like I'm gonna stab myself. Plus, I always feel like I'm gonna stab myself with plasticware. And there's sort of an OCD component too with like metal stuff hitting my teeth. But anyways, breakfast, then van. Okay, it's finally decent weather. It's not raining. Let's open this thing up and take a look. Yeah, it looks like we've got some spare tire damage back here. That's actually a pretty common thing on these vans that have the spare tire mounted to the door like this. I'm probably going to have to address that because the door latch is on there. Not too big of a deal right now, though. Oh, there's a soccer guard in here. Ah, this is the magical box right here. So, let's stay open. Okay. Inside this is what's going to house all of our secrets, potentially, for getting these power doors working. And then also, actually, let's take this box inside. Okay, so I've got some lighting to put up here and these boxes right over here. I'm going to try and do that this afternoon. Although I'm trying to get that van going right now. Let's see what kind of goodies we got in this box. So, right off the bat, we've got the connecting rods for the power doors. Yes, they're supposed to be bent in the middle. We've got two... I'm hoping one of them is supposed to be bent in the middle. They are on the other van. And then it looks like... Oh, we've got... Oh. This box is full of allergies. Oh. We've got schematics. Do you have any idea how hard it is to get schematics for one of these vans? Are you kidding me? Okay, what do we got here? There's like some receipts and stuff. Maybe I need to put this box in a closed container with the ozone generator to disinfect it first. Ugh. Okay, I don't know what those junkyard receipts are, but we seem to have this right here. When I had my red van years ago, it took me intermittently 2 weeks to figure out this. On my old van, it was all completely electromechanical, no electronics whatsoever. So when you hit the switch, first door opens till it gets to end of travel. It hits a limit switch. That limit switch triggers a relay, which shuts off the motor, double pull, double throw relays. It hits a limit switch, which triggers a relay to turn off the motor in that door, and simultaneously turn on the motor in this door, till that one opens all the way. Then when it hits the limit switch, that opens the connection to turn off that motor, and then activates the lift to deploy. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit more simple. I'm going to have the power doors on this thing set up on a separate system, because I've got these awesome Amazon wireless modules, and yeah, well, we're just going to avoid all that. So we've got the, what do we got here? VMI Universal Control Module, commercial lift wiring diagram. Okay, so this is for the one that they installed. Here's a control module for something. I think this is, what the heck is on this? Must be mold or something. Yeah, look at there. Oh, that obnoxious beeper? Well, I know you've heard it, John, but that's what's making all the racket. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm going to, oh, sweet. This is the bracket that holds the side door, or the third door on this side shut. I was hoping that was still somewhere. That's actually super useful. And we've got a, oh, by the way, this is what tried to make the white van's hydraulic lift system catch fire. One of these things. It's stuck. This is, it looks like a starter solenoid, but these ones are rated for, I wouldn't say 100% duty cycle, but definitely a lot longer. They're designed to be used as a switch instead of just a temporary solenoid. And, oh, we've got one bolt for that door thing, and a Okay, I don't recommend what I'm about to do right now, but in this particular case with allergies, this stuff is your friend. I don't care if you're not supposed to have bleach on your face or your eyes, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Now I'm not squeezing it into my eyes, I'm just getting around my face and my hands and my nose. Oh man, and then I always have Let's see, where did it go? I think I put it in the bathroom. I always have a drawer. I love how I'm saying that I'm prepared right now, and I'm clearly not. But I always have, oh, here it is. A little bug out container full of all the stuff I need for allergy response. So we're about to take a whole bunch of Benadryl. Because if I start coughing, dang it, stupid packaging is hard to open. And it fell on the floor. So we got more here. Because if I start coughing, like sneezing is one thing, but if I start coughing too much, bad things happen in a hurry. So the liquid Benadryl would be better at this point, but I'm out of that. Then we're gonna wipe down the joystick, armrests. Okay, I think we're good. Well, that was fun. I don't know what was on that cardboard, but not doing that today. I'm gonna look over this door wiring diagram, then we're gonna pop the lid off the back of that box in the van, and hopefully all of our wiring is still attached. I will admit though, it is a lot easier buying a car when you can walk. All this stuff is significantly easier when you can't reach anything. All right. So the bits I'm interested in are right down here. These are going to be, oh wait, no, they're up here. These are the door controls. Now, there's no power to this system anymore. And I know that because, let me show you something. I noticed this right here before I bought the van. That's the wire that used to connect power back to the rest of the system. And as you can see, that has been lopped off. And looks like there's some other hard shell connectors down here. I think that used to attach to the old lift. Oh yeah, there's the hydraulic line. Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of cleanup involved with some of the wiring. That beeper. But yeah, so that bracket I was talking about goes right here, and that's what this door latch connects to. It would be sweet, though, to get it wired back up to this thing. I'm going to have to check and see how that'll work. This connection right here, yeah, that needs to be dealt with. Yeah, so supposedly this here, when it's actuated, opens some relay and completely disconnects the lift system from the battery. Oh yeah, and this is our old manual release over here for the UVL that was on this thing. I'm going to have to pull this apart and inspect it too. My old red van had an issue with the wires in here getting frayed, so we'll want to check that. Our connecting links basically go from here over to here, and that is what controls this door. I'm pretty sure the one with the bend in it goes on this side, but yeah, we'll have to figure that out. I should probably get in here and pop the cover off of this and see what's going on there. Just for fun and diagnostic purposes, I think we're going to try and power this thing up. And I want to see how complete the wiring is on it. We do not want this hydraulic pump running though, because we still have a whole tank of hydraulic oil here, and there's just open lines down there. Right now the thing is not connected to power, so I'm going to disconnect our power lead from the top of the hydraulic pump motor here, and we'll pull that off completely so that I know there's no issues with that thing firing up on accident. Bend that out here into the middle of space so it's not going to short out on anything. Then our main power feed over here, that's the one that goes down and just hangs onto the van, and I know that's not shorted on anything right now. We're going to connect our jump box up to right here. This is our main power input. go. And then we'll make our ground. How about this bit right here? Okay, there we go. Alright, let's turn on our power and see what we get. Okay. So, if everything is still hooked up, I should be able to manually activate the door open button. Which should be, let's see here, this one. Oh, I hear the motors running. Sweet. Okay, so we have power connected to those. Let's see here. So these two here should trigger this relay, which normally would turn that pump on. Or not. Okay, we might have run those outside their limits. Let's see. I guess I didn't show it earlier, but these things started all the way back here. So I'm going to put them in our release position, back to operate. Then I'm going to set you guys down here on the ground and you can watch those move. Okay, that's fantastic. That means our motor wiring is still connected, and all I have to do basically now is install my 433 megahertz switch box back there, and we'll have doors. As far as this thing working, I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the input's supposed to be. I'm going to look at that schematic again just to check and see if there's any mention of this door latch solenoid. That would be ideal. Oh yeah, and you can see, oh, I might have just sent it down into the forbidden zone, but our little hold down bracket is still inside the frame there. Because it would be nice to have this latching. But also at the same time, these are the really nice locking mechanisms. And, well, here, as you pull it around, you basically need to get the imaginary line that's drawn from here to here past center for it to actually lock. Because right now on that van, if you pull in the doors, it just basically forces against all this. But check it out. We've got a nice detent there. And if you look, our line that connects between here and here, this is lower than that. So that makes a nice positive. Okay, apparently it has to have electrical force to release, but it makes a nice positive engagement to hold the doors shut. This one here you can lift back up. But yeah, so operate. Let's continue on our research. So I want to trace out some of these wires here. According to the screen printing on this board, this is our door. Let's see. That's door close, and this one's open. It is interesting though, our wire color. It looks like we've got a ground that goes down here somewhere that I can't exactly see. Oh, it looks like we got here. Got some fuses or something down. Let me turn this power off. Ah, okay. So we have 2 amps. Wow. So we've got a little 2 amp fuse down here. There's a connector that goes to another fuse, which is also 2 amps. So this is grounding for one of the door circuits and this thing that says close. So I think what I need to do right now is probably pull off one of the panels up in there and take a look at what our wiring looks like, because typically they run these wires full length. So hopefully we will find a black wire like this that's double conductor and one of these gray wires up there that's also double conductor. Because for the lift itself they use these white wires and they all have labels attached to them. Anything body related is typically going to be this style of double conductor wire or connection wire. So yeah, I would assume that this black wire here is going to be going to our door motors, and then these two gray ones are going to be some auxiliary stuff, maybe connecting to door switches or limit switches or things like that. But yeah, it is interesting though that our motors do in fact work. They won't close, but they will open. I'm pretty sure that's because this board is looking for an input saying that the lift is in all the way, which obviously is not there right now. Yeah, there's too many limit switches and other inputs that are not connected right now. So yeah, I'm gonna go up here, disconnect a panel, take a look at our wiring, consult our diagram to figure out if that door popper is controlled by this thing or if it's by the circuitry in the doors itself. I'm also noticing that our lock and unlock button here does not work. So, oh, actually, oh, we've got, hang on here, found some secrets. We've got some sort of remote control module up here. Let me turn off this power. What is this thing? It's velcroed up here. Oh, so we've got some antenna that's sticking out top here. What is this? PowerTech remote control systems. I'm pretty sure this is probably for the UVL. Can't quite see where that wire's going. These are like Ford body electrical wiring colors though, so might have to trace out where that harness is going. It looks like it goes up. Oh no, it connects. It looks like it connects down here to the lift. If this is somehow attached to the lift, this would be a really easy interface point for all this stuff. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna do some more investigating. After doing a little bit of hunting and pecking in here, I discovered there are a lot of wires going into this door. So this one here is the master door, this one is the slave. So all of our wiring and everything we need to figure out and find is gonna be inside this one. So I just took the arm off. Now we're gonna take off this door panel and see what's going on in there. And interesting as well, I just noticed we have two door switch pins. When I push on this one, I hear a relay in here click. When I push on this one, I hear a relay somewhere else click, and the dome lights dim a little bit. Really curious to see what's in here. Okay, here we are. So our release mechanism basically mechanically pulls on this, and if you notice, that motor actually moves. So that's how it disengages. It actually moves the motor down and pulls the teeth off of the geared mechanism there. It looks like we've got a little relay board right here with some lights on it. A couple of limit switches here. And then this is for the old power door lock, which is no longer here. We've got wire going to the speaker, and then three huge power wires going to this motor. Yeah, more investigation required. Alright, so this setup is actually really, really simple. We just have three wires here going into the motor, and then these micro switches feed these relays that are down in here. And there's no logic or anything here, it's just all solid state. So we've got essentially one neutral wire and then forward and reverse. So pretty simple there. I'm gonna have to add some wiring sheathing material here. Oh, and that green wire is a big ground. I'm assuming, oh wait, no, that's not ground. What is that? Oh, that connects down here. But I'm gonna have to put some sheathing in here to make sure these wires don't get abrasions on them. And this door is only supposed to be open to 90 degrees. Once you take off this mechanism, it opens up further, and that's why this popped out. But it's basically just long enough to work when that arm is on here. So I'm gonna reattach all this stuff on the door panel, and then we'll continue tracing the wiring. I think next I'm going to pull off the housing on the new lift mechanism and take a look at what's going on in there. But I'm halfway tempted just to power up that board in the back. Although it has a pretty high, although those things have a pretty high parasitic draw, I was thinking I could just power up that board and use the existing buttons and stuff. But I think it's going to be better to just go ahead and wire up my own setup. I mean, we'll use existing wiring, but I'll set up my own controls to run everything. Now, I would really like to get behind this panel here, and this actually looks like it's a removable cutout, but it's not. It is all one piece. I think what I might try and do here is pull this C-pillar off, and then I can get this part out and look down in there. I think it's going to be easier than trying to pull off this lower portion. So if we get this weather stripping off of here, I'm going to sort of slide over here to the back seat and take a look down in there. Okay, eyeballing down in here, we can see we've got our big wires that go to the door. Okay, so the green wire is definitely ground. All right, so everything's grounded independently, and then basically our red and gray wires appear to be controlling things. Is interesting, however. Looks like our wiring runs back here. Got a little bit more there. But there is going to be some sort of interface somewhere that switches from those giant gauge wires down to some relays or something. Because that back here on the switch box, the control wires are very, very tiny. So I think I'm going to pull the rest of this plastic off of here, and we'll keep tracing this out. Okay, that actually wasn't too difficult. So right here, feeding into the spring, which actually I wanted to double check, it looks like we're good there. Got our ground wire coming out, and then our two very heavy gauge wires that control the lift. Then it looks like we've got that black wire I was looking for, and then the white one. So interesting though, our power wires come all the way back here. And this is our sensor harness here. I believe this goes to the remote. Yeah, so our old UVL remote's right there. That plugs in. So this is our control harness. And then this goes back to that box there. Plugs in down here, so that's our smaller harness. So yeah, it looks like everything is inside this box right here. So I'm betting that bank of relays on the bottom is what actually controls all of this. And our gray wire, let's see, where did that go? Oh, so that's not, okay. So I thought there was 3 heavy gauge wires. This gray one here is actually our multi-stranded control wire. So that is what's going on. We've got power going in, ground, and then this is our control wire. Luckily I already put that door panel back on. I might have to take that back off and take a look to see what exactly is happening here. And then, yeah, we've got a couple other wires here. I'm assuming those are coming from the other side. And then also some of the sensors left over from under the van. But, okay, cool. I think, interesting. Both of our power wires connect here. So this is the feed to our doors. This goes to one door, that goes to the other. And then that multi-stranded wire, which I'm assuming are these two right here. Yeah, these two right here. These are what control our doors. So that's going to be activating the relay modules in there and telling us what to do. All right, cool. I'm going to hop back out, take a look at this thing, and see what it takes to get our own wiring set up. I totally figured it out. Without doing a little bit more tracing around and figuring out things, I think what I'm going to do is just run my wireless remote to short a couple of these pins. Right now, basically all I have to do is apply power to this pin right here to open it, and down here to close. I don't know if you could hear the mechanisms or not, but it's opening and closing, and that's all I need. The other thing too, this is the remote from the middle. It has a really long wire, but it's still hooked up. You can see we get our LEDs that turn on when we press each individual button. I think what I might do, since I don't have to change any of this wiring, is I'm going to find the input for the lift in, because right now I can open the doors from remote, but I can't close them. So if I hit up or down lift, it opens the doors. But there's a sensor here that's not allowing the door close button to work, because it's not going to close unless the lift is in all the way. So I need to figure out where that is, and then I think we'll be good. Oh man, I don't want to jinx it, but this is actually going pretty well. So because of the government, International Railway has complete wiring schematics for these UVL systems. So I was able to go through this whole thing and trace out exactly what's going on. There isn't a theory of operation manual, but I was able to look at this and figure out how it works. Right now, the doors are not closing because it thinks the lift is out. So I went through here and I found the sensor that tells the system when the lift is in or out. You can see here, out. And basically, it's either normally open or normally closed. The normally open contact isn't used, so I was able to run down here and see that there's a lift out wire right there, and I traced that all the way back around to the control board, and then it intermittently shorts to this other wire, which is ignition power. So I was able to go trace it all the way around the schematic and find out that it goes to position D, like Delta right here, same number, BU-1.31-16, and trace that out to this lower blue wire right here. There are letters on this board. Down here, these are the actual power wires that go to the lift harness, but this is a sensor harness here. And these colors do not come out the back. So I'm gonna pop this board out of here. I've disconnected my power. I'm gonna pop this board out of here and see if we can figure out where that wire goes, because I'm pretty sure that is going to connect into one of the sensor lines, which looks kind of like this, that goes somewhere into the van. These white ones here are labeled, but I'm guessing this blue one's gonna be spliced in somewhere, so let me pull this board out. Aha, they're trying to be sneaky. I discovered there's an additional harness that goes under the van, actually two of them, that go into the van right down here, behind all these French fries. So, what I'm gonna do is splice off of this blue wire right here, and in theory, all we need to do is short that to positive, or feed ignition power in there, and then we should be able to get our door close button to work, because this system thinks that the lift is fully inside the cassette, and it's not gonna allow the doors to close until it happens. So, let me go grab some electrical tools, and let's see if we can make this work. Okay, we're shifting gears here a little bit. After doing a lot of poking around with that thing, I decided that it's completely unnecessary to use the UVL controller that the van has in it right now. The only concern I had was I wasn't sure if these power door modules were independent, as in you can just apply power to them, they open in sequence and then stop, or if that controller was saying, okay, first door's open, turn off motor, turn on motor, second door's open, turn off both motors. But micro switches and relays, it's completely, can't think of the word I said 2 seconds ago. It's completely separate. Basically, you have two wires. Feed 12 volts into one of them, door's open, feed 12 volts into the other one, door closes. So, other thing is too, I was noticing that control board, there's something wrong with it. The manual button for door closing doesn't work. And that will always work no matter what position anything is in. Using those manual buttons can destroy things because they are manual overrides. Also, when the doors are fully open, there's a relay that's active, the board's powered up, and without all the other sensors hooked up, it can't go into sleep mode, which means it's gonna drain the batteries, and there's relays sitting there on all the time. So, we're gonna completely unhook that thing, and what I'm going to do, I'm trying to decide right now, just in the interest of getting it going, I'm thinking about using one of my wireless modules here to control the doors independently with a remote. And then, once the doors are open, I can just use the wired remote to run the lift up and down. I'm leaning towards doing that. It's a lot of talking. I'm gonna look at the schematics, figure out the simplest way to do this so I don't have to carry two remotes, and see if we can make this work. Okay, it's getting dark, so I probably won't film much of this, but I've got our two power wires pulled from around back. I'm gonna run them through here. I'm gonna put some wiring loom material over these, and then I'm going to run two parallel fuses at 15 amps each, so each door has its own fuse, and then we're gonna connect them up to this, and I think we should be good. Then I'll probably have to run an additional wire from here back to there to pick up all of the inputs for the like the dashboard switches and the other wired remote that's in here. But yeah, I'll be back in a little bit. It's really dark out here, but we are, I think, pretty much wired up and ready to go. I've run power to this little module. I've gotten it wired up to the appropriate circuits here. I'm probably just going to disconnect most of the stuff on this. I'm not putting the cover back on tonight because I need to come back through and wire in the hand controls, or wire in the switches that are built into the van on the dashboard. But I think we're ready to test this. So in theory, if I click these buttons, we should get some red lights. Okay, I heard some motors over there. Let's go look at the doors. Okay, so right now they should be in the open position. So if I hit B on this, that one should move, and then that one should move. Haha, it works. All right. I think it might be time to hook up the door linkage and see if they actually move. When I hit the button on the remote, these should do something. I'm gonna check the tension on these. I know you can't really see anything, but seems pretty good. Let's try this one. Okay. So this one interferes with the lift a little bit. I was wondering which way that bend was supposed to go. It looks like it's potentially supposed to go the other direction. At any rate, we seem to have doors that are open and closing, and they work with this wireless remote. So yeah, we'll call it good for now. I think we'll pick this up again tomorrow. And actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, these power doors were never hooked up with this lift, so it actually makes sense that that one interferes slightly. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of modification on that thing. I suppose, I don't think there's a reason that needs to be bent, so I suppose I could probably straighten that out and then adjust the turnbuckles a little bit to get it back to the proper length. But yeah, progress. Things started getting pretty technical and monotonous. I filmed a lot of footage of me going through the process of figuring out all that stuff. I think you get the idea. We're just gonna skip through about 3 hours worth of footage and show you the end result. I didn't like film installing the hand controls. I just sort of took a few clips with my cell phone because, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but installing hand controls is very different for every vehicle, and after installing these, I realized I'm probably going to be putting a different style of them in there. There's a few different kinds. I mean, I'll talk about that later, but I've got a few clips of when I actually got them partially installed, but it's by no means a how-to or anything like that. But yeah, let's go back and check in whatever clip I'm putting next, we'll see. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and put hand controls in this thing tonight. I've got them mounted and got spacers and everything in here. They're basically put in. I'm working on getting the angle of this set where I want it, and the travel of the accelerator pedal, and also the travel of the brakes. This was on my old red van, and these wires here were for the high beams, I believe. But probably not going to use those right now. I might switch it over and put the horn on there eventually, but just kind of working on getting everything adjusted properly here and getting this positioned where I want it. So I kind of got in the zone working on this thing. So I got the hand controls in and everything's working. I'm about ready to put the tri-pin on from the white van. Basically, there's these straps that go around the steering wheel like this. And you sort of bend these into place. And then this mechanism has these little Allen bolts here that stick through. And it goes through and into that threaded area there. And then you tighten the thing down with an Allen wrench. I realize I'm not filming a whole lot of this. I just kind of started doing it. So I figured I'd do a few clips here and there, at least showing some of the things. These things are usually kind of a pain to get in here, but once they get latched in, they don't go anywhere once you crank them down. But getting them lined up the first time is a little bit tricky. There we go, that one bit. And usually too, you can kind of tilt the thing forward. Oops. You can tilt the thing forward so you've got access to it. Then once they're loose, you can sort of stick it back in there. And I'm using an Allen wrench with a speed tip on it. That's crucial. All right, got them both threaded on there. So now we can just sort of tilt this thing forward where we want it. Try to get those little nylon things so there's no metal showing. That doesn't really matter. That's just kind of an OCD thing. But yeah, and then once it's in the position you want, you just reach in here with your Allen wrench and tighten it down. Now, as I'm finding out here, because the steering wheel's a little wider on this and it has an airbag, I can't quite get this wrench down in there to get final tightening. So what I'm gonna have to do is use little individual Allen wrenches that are long on one side and have a right angle. Then I'll be able to get in there and tighten those down the rest of the way. But for now, as you can see, the thing goes on there and we can turn the wheel. Okay, so this is the workflow for right now for getting into the van. You push and hold this button to open the doors. Then push and hold this button to deploy the ramp. And that's all we can do wirelessly. Without getting a lot more technical and adding other things, whatever. But I figure from this point, it's just easy enough to reach up here and use this to pull the lift down. Hop up onto the lift and then use the button to get back in. Now, once we're in here, I can either use the remote buttons right here to fold the lift back up, or I can use the remote to do that. But I also wired up the old lift buttons here on the dash. This one will close the doors and this one will open the doors. These two buttons are currently not assigned to anything, and I'm not going to be linking them to this lift because, like I said, it's getting replaced and I don't want to screw around with it right now. We got the check engine light now. I'm going to pull the codes when we get back, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cylinder X number misfire. But yeah, we'll find out here in a little bit.